course, as usual, with me is Fred.
F. Stafford.
Fred F. Stafford
Right.
of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Hey, are you Batman? Where's
No.
Robin?
Oh, I'm incognito tonight, Fred.
In where?
Incognito.
Where's that?
We've been in touch with the Flavonistas down there in southern Mexico, and you know, we resist the NAFTA agreement, and they resist it too. So we've been in contact with the Flavonistas.
Right.
Well, tonight we are once again coming to you from beautiful downtown Ellie Phillips Library right here in beautiful downtown Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Fred.
Is that right?
It's still here.
I was wondering where we were.
The downtown is still here after all these years, Fred.
Yeah.
After all the attempts to wipe it off the face of the earth, it's still here. Beautiful downtown Eau Claire.
Yes.
I hear there's some pretty exciting events coming up as to the direction of where the downtown's going, Fred. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, there's rumors that the city, at least some of the city fathers want to build an arena here to seat 8,000 people and put it here in beautiful downtown Eau Claire.
Sounds like a pretty good sized arena, 8,000.
Well, that's what they say.
Well, Fred,
Yes.
we were going to have our major
Well, you can give them out and...
cow pie awards tonight, but I left the certificates at home. So if we do it tonight, Fred, we're just going to wing it and play it by ear and show the award itself. But the certificates we'll have to mail out later.
I told some of the people I was speaking with this evening that we were going to have these awards, and they are watching the program, eagerly awaiting to see who's going to get this distinguished award or awards.
Well, you know, Fred, there has been talk about it. The town has just been buzzing all day about who's going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the last thing I do when I leave the house is I leave them at home. And there's no way that you can run from where I live back home and here and get it in time. So we're just going to kind of play her by ear later. But that'll be later in the program, Fred.
Yeah.
Well, you saw one of our relatives down on Water Street over the weekend, Fred.
You did?
That cow they had, they were pouring out the BGH milk down there.
That's what they were doing, huh?
Well, I found one of their brochures, and the camera can zero in on it. We've got a new cameraman there, Tyrone Powers Jr. on the camera, and he's gonna be trying to focus in on this here. But this was the poster that the United We Stand group of United We Stand group of
Excellent.
the Eau Claire area was distributing down on Water Street as they destroyed or poured out some of that BGH pus milk, Fred.
Yes,
And as you know, we sell pus inhibitors by the Flavin Company.
yes. And do you know something else? Saturday night, what they had here on Water Street,
No, I didn't know that.
they had some guys who ran on the news.
They did.
Yeah, on Water Street.
Were you
And
down there observing or what?
No, it was in the paper tonight.
Oh, nice paper.
Or Sunday night.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, Fred, we want to let everyone know that the show is brought to you by the wonderful World of Flavin. The flagship of the Flavin Company is Flavin Pop,
Yeah.
with the secret ingredients brought
Yeah.
over from the old country.
Right. And I've been wondering what's been going wrong with our country, and I've come to the conclusion it's the Flavin Pop.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's ruining the country.
Well, it's been sweeping the nation. I'm still not going to admit
Yeah, I
which.
know. They sweep it off the floor and put it in the bottle.
Well, I'm not going to admit which nation is sweeping as of yet. I'm working on that. Well, Fred, we've got some news coming out of Russia that you and I have been talking about on the program on and off for, what have we been on the show now, 20, 25 years?
No, not quite.
All right.
A few less, about 24 or 23 and a half left.
Okay. Well, like they say, since 1991, we've been bringing the truth to Eau Claire
Yes.
in ever abundant amount. Okay, Fred, I noticed you were on the radio this morning. You
Yes,
took,
yes, I was.
you took a little heat out there.
And I don't know, the guy that I was on with, he doesn't look like you.
Well,
He wasn't wearing the outfit.
I told him that I was going to bring down, I was going to use or have the Wake coffee mug on the show tonight. And I left that in the car. I left
Oh
the
boy,
Cowpie
I don't
Award
know.
certificates at home.
I
Boy,
don't know there.
we're
I
in a
don't know.
mess here, Fred. It's been a busy day today.
Yes,
Trying to keep up with it.
right.
So anyway, Fred, out of the great country of Russia, facing an uproar in the Baltics, Russia hastily retreated Thursday from a plan to establish a permanent military base in Latvia.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of 30 new outposts to be created in former Soviet republics. President Boris Yeltsin has approved the plan in an executive order made public Wednesday that specifically mentioned Latvia. So in other words, Fred, they're reestablishing their tight iron fist upon those former Soviet satellites, bringing them back into the fold by having outposts, 30 of them, scattered around the former Soviet Union. Basically, that'll be where the KGB and the Black Berets and the other thugs will operate out of to keep the populace in line.
I noticed something else too. The former Soviet republics who wanted to get out of the Soviet Union are forced to pay for the retirement of the soldiers that have been stationed there for years.
Well, in the case of East Germany, the Germans are having to build new housing for the former East German soldiers back in Russia, providing housing so that the Russian troops can leave Germany and go back to the Soviet Union. Otherwise, the Soviets said they wouldn't take them out. So Germany's footing the bill for all that. Plus, Germany's getting stuck with massive amounts of poisoning, nuclear waste, and other contaminants that have been buried and dumped in East Germany, left behind by the fleeing Soviet Superman. Okay, Fred.
Yes.
I brought that little tidbit to the audience, so now it's your turn with something
Oh,
short and sweet.
I got a little something there from the American Family Association that I got today. March 12th, Congressman Steve Gunderson, Republican, was guest speaker at a meeting of the Human Rights Campaign Fund in Baltimore, Maryland. The Human Rights Campaign Fund is a homosexual lobbying organization in our nation's capital which is trying to pass laws which would give homosexuals special rights based on sexual preference. In his speech, according to the Washington Blaze, a homosexual publication, Congressman Gunderson referred to, quote, Rob and I, unquote, and made references to, quote, our two dogs, unquote, and, quote, our porch, unquote. According to the March 24 congressional record, Gunderson spoke against the Hancock Amendment on H.R. 6, which would have prevented using tax dollars from promoting the homosexual lifestyle in the public school system. The Homosexual Rights Campaign Fund has given Congressman Gunderson a huge 57% approval rating on his voting record for on homosexual issues.
What's that got to do with anything?
Got lots to do.
What are we
If you
supposed
don't know, if you don't know that homosexuality is wrong, then you're not morally qualified to run for and hold public office.
So what are they asking the people to do here? This is coming out of Mississippi. They're telling us Wisconsinites what to do. What are we supposed to do?
Well, as of April 5th, Congressman Newt Gingrich of Georgia is scheduled to travel to Wisconsin on April the 16th to campaign for Mr. Gunderson's re-election.
So what would you suggest that the massive audience do about this?
Well, I would stay away.
Okay, well, as you were speaking, Fred, I just happened to pick up a couple phone numbers here.
Yes.
One of them is Newt Gingrich's phone number. He's a Republican from the 6th District of Georgia, and his Washington number is 202-225-4501. And if you would like Newt to stay in Georgia and not come up here and rabble-rouse, I understand he's a carpetbagger from Pennsylvania to begin with, Fred, and then he moved to Georgia. Now he's trying to come back up into the north. But he's sneaking up into the north to do a little fundraiser for Steve Gunderson next Saturday night down in La Crosse. Then he's going to flip back out down to Georgia and play like he's the big southern arch conservative of the world or something down there for him. But he comes up here and supports the liberal Gunderson. So that number, once again, if you don't agree with Newt, or maybe you do agree, maybe you can call him up and tell him to come ahead and bring his entourage with him. But that number is, in Washington, is 202-225-4501, or if you have a fax machine, it's 202-225-4656. That's the Newt, Fred. And of course, you know, the parole people are still very, very upset with Newt because Newt saved the Clinton administration when he brought in all that fold or that giant amount of, he herded in those sheep of those Republicans and herded them into line and twisted their arms and offered them pork and sausage and turkey and everything they could to get that NAFTA thing approved. So Newt Gingrich delivered the bacon to President Clinton on that one. Fred saved his presidency.
Yeah.
But he betrayed millions of workers here in the United States who are going to be forced out of jobs in the next 10 years. Thousands of family farms are going to go under when they start competing against the dollar-a-day labor down in Mexico. And we're going to find out down the road that it's not the great thing that Newt and the New World Order said it was going to be. What do you think about that, Frank?
Well, I think you're right. I've seen evidence already of some firms in the past that have left here, and they left here because of the wages, the paperwork burden, taxes, the EPA, just complying with the regulations.
Well, just think of the disparity in the use of pesticides and things, Fred. They've
Right.
got a carte blanche down there in Mexico on a lot of them poisons that the United States can't compete fairly in the marketplace because we don't have those same types of poisons to spray on the food to make them look nice and shiny. Looks and taste are two different things, Fred. They might look good and then they might turn sour in your belly.
Yeah.
But the Newt Stir is coming up here, Fred. April 16th. He's going to be down there at the Omni in Onalaska that evening, which is a Saturday, which will be a major fundraiser for Representative Gunderson. It's going to be held right after the 3rd District Republican Love Fest caucus down there, Fred. And I understand they're going to have a giant love fest. It's going to be like Woodstock 25 all over again, Fred. It's going to be a giant love-in down there. And then after that, Newt's going to talk to the sheep down there and bring them all back into the fold. And then he's going to maybe leave a few $1,000s laying around. Then he's going to head back to Georgia, Fred, with his carpet bag and all. So what do you think about that?
Well, I'm not too happy. As far as I'm concerned, I wish he would stay down in Georgia.
Well, glad we agree on that one. Well, Fred, moving on. But I forgot to mention that April 16th, if you would like to picket, there will be some people picketing in front of the Omni, and they'll be meeting about 5 p.m. that evening Saturday down in Onalaska at the Omni, which is some sort of civic center type deal, Fred. I've never been to it, but I'm sure somebody will be able to see the signs, and they'll be, if they want to join in the picket. Hopefully some parole people and anti-NAFTA union people and some others will show up to give Newt and the boys a rousing welcome, Fred.
Yeah.
And of course we'll be asking conservatives and Christians to honor the picket line. Okay, Fred, what do you got there?
Well, I got something here from the April 7th issue of the Wanderer, a Catholic lay paper from St. Paul, and it says, ex-nun admits homosexual, bans pro-lifers from largest parade. The annual St. Patrick's Day parade in this central New York City, Syracuse, modestly bills itself as the nation's largest parade for this colorful Irish celebration. It claims 300 floats, 50 marching bands, brags incessantly the openness, to all who wish to march in it. Under this policy, the local Gay and Lesbian Alliance marched proudly for the past 4 years, but right-to-life organizations have been turned away, despite attempts made 10 years ago to register their active entry. It's rather interesting, I think.
And what's the plan of action on that one, Fred?
Well, I think we better wake up one of these days. With the help of Mr. Gunderson and some of the others, we're going to be going all gay.
Well, you definitely keeping the audience informed, Fred. I think we're going to go ahead and take a call here. Maybe the Chris and Cliff Economic. Fred, I forgot to introduce them.
You did.
And of course, you know, Chris and Cliff have been with us all these years. Siamese twins of engineering. Hard at work in the other room, Fred. And they pretty much live down here day and night. And they control the studios and make sure everything goes off okay. And as usual, they've been slipping a little bit lately, Fred. They used to put the phone number on there, and hopefully we'll get a phone number up on the screen, and we'll just kind of leave that there the rest of the show now, so that the audience will know what the number is. And we're going to try out a new, our bank of phone calls, our bank of operators are eagerly awaiting to take your calls, Fred.
That's good.
So we'll take one right now. I think we got one online.
Call report.
Well, we did have some. The guy was holding up the sign saying we had a couple here, Fred.
Yeah, she was.
And as soon as that phone flashed on there, then they started calling. So, while we're waiting for those phone lines to get cleared up, Fred, and let's say we have some new secretaries in there trying to eagerly handle those phone calls. We'll talk about a drug-dazed man admits to forgery, Fred.
Yeah.
An interesting little report after we had our big discussion about marijuana, how we had the potheads calling us last Monday, telling us how great it was to smoke. So just a few days later, well, actually it was March 17th. For some reason, it was just hitting the newspapers now. That's kind of odd. An Eau Claire man was reportedly sought police assistance after smoking what he thought was a tainted batch of marijuana. Allegedly admitted to officers who arrived at his home that he forged checks stolen from an Augusta trucking firm. I'm not going to give his name, but he told officers he felt ill after having spent the previous 2 days smoking marijuana he feared had been tainted with a foreign substance. So while the police cared for him, including taking him to the local hospital, he admitted that he had forged 5 checks that he'd stolen from a trucking company in Augusta. So, Fred, that terrible marijuana got somebody again, and once again it shows you that marijuana turns your head into a mushmelon.
Yeah.
M-U-S-H melon.
Yeah, there's more recent here about 3 days ago. There's a rocker of some note from Nirvana who shot himself, killed himself, 27 years old, had a wife and a child.
Isn't that amazing?
He too was.
What's the end?
Nirvana.
Oh yeah.
N-I-R-V-A-N-A.
Okay. Well, we'll take the call online too and see what the caller has to say tonight.
Hi, the correct pronunciation of that band is Nirvana.
All right.
All right. And I would like to say, ask, are you aware of what the Earth's primary renewable natural resource is for food, fuel, and fiber?
No.
Marijuana.
It is.
Yes, it is, and it can save the world. I mean, we're destroying all of our natural resources, all of the oil that, has been stored up for thousands and thousands of years, all the trees. 1 acre of hemp is equal to 4 acres of trees. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we're destroying all of our natural resources, and the government has outlawed marijuana simply because of corporations wanting to hold on to their profits.
Have you ever tried to answer the question, if everybody's growing marijuana and everybody's laying around stones, who's going to be out there harvesting it and getting it back in and keeping the economy going if you're all laying around doped up out of your brain?
Well, gee, I mean, I wouldn't say that you lay around. I think that it motivates you to creatively add to the creative thought process. motivates you to exercise, to clean, to do lots of things.
Well,
And it is different from occasional use and regular use.
yes. I know a man who used it regularly, and he's been lying around for the last year and a half or so. It happens that he's 6 foot under in a casket there.
Well, was that
That's
due
what
to
it did for him there.
So that certainly wasn't due to marijuana. What was it due to?
Well, it was he smoked a lot of marijuana and lay around most of the time doing hardly anything but.
What did he eat his whole life? Did he eat hamburgers and lots of high-fat?
Oh, he wouldn't do that. You know
Uh-huh.
that.
So,
He'd rather have a bottle of beer or a bottle of whiskey and smoke his pot.
well,
See, he should have drank Flavin Pop.
Yeah.
That would have solved that problem.
All right.
But I was going to ask you, caller, since you didn't give her your name and we don't ask your name or anything, what's the going price for marijuana in this area now?
I have no idea actually.
Oh,
But I am
you grow
aware
your own or what?
of the benefits from this wonderful plant. I mean, aside from the fact that it gets people stoned, it does have many wonderful thousands of qualities. In 1943, the government, when we were at war, the government called on all the farmers to grow hemp for rope and twine and those sort of things.
And 50 years later, they're still trying to get it out of their fields.
The Encyclopedia Britannica was printed on hemp paper for 150 years. The Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. The very first clothing that has been found, excavated from these sites was made from hemp.
Well, I noticed down in northern Illinois, around a Spanish name of the city, I won't name it, but it's in the northern part of Illinois. There's so much marijuana in some parts of the countryside back there on the dirt roads that it actually hangs over the road like giant Christmas trees.
Yes, it is wild.
And it bends over to where it's almost like you're driving through a tunnel.
Well, but it's really pretty.
It's 8, 10, 12 foot tall stuff. The only problem with it is you'd have to smoke 20 pounds of it to get high.
Well, that's simply because the males and the females are mixing and producing seed, not flower. But hey, I want to ask you, is that on your head? Is that a disguise?
No,
Oh,
I'm in solidarity with the Flavonistas out of southern Mexico.
okay. All right. Sort of like secret handshake thing or something.
No, it's part of the Flavin family settled in western Wisconsin. The other part settled down in southern Mexico. And as you know, there's a rebellion going on down in southern Mexico, and that's led
Right.
by the Flavin family now.
Right.
They've been drinking that pop and smoking that pot.
Well, we want to thank you for your enlightenment tonight. And,
Thank you. I'm glad to be of some help.
okay, thank
Have a
you.
good
very-
night.
Thank you very much. Okay, Fred, we've got this other caller that's been eagerly awaiting on line
Yeah.
2 for many, many hours, so I'm going to take that call right now. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, why you hide your face?
I am who, me or Fred?
Fred should be hiding his, but he's not.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what's the question?
Why are you hiding your face?
That's it?
Well, that's the first one. That was the easy one for you.
Fred, here we have it again. Another fine example of what $6,100 of public education will buy you in today's economy.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2.
You never answered question number 1, so...
It's not hidden. This is just part of a solidarity. It's part of a solidarity trip. Well, Fred, he evidently didn't want to get to question number 2 today. Well, moving right along, Fred.
Yes.
There's something else I wanted to tell you about here, and that was the drunken driving deaths in the state of Wisconsin, Fred, are at an average of 45.4% of all deaths on the highways in Wisconsin are caused by drunken drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Now that compares to a nationwide high of New Mexico, where almost 62% of all accidents on the highways are with drunken drivers, and Alaska coming right behind them with 60% of all the drivers. And then you dip way down into Mississippi, the poor little state down there, the third world country down there called Mississippi, 28%. They're really a sober bunch down there in Mississippi, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Right down there in the Bible Belt. So 28% there, and then Iowa is 39%, Nebraska's 33%. Utah is just 31%. That's of all accidents. New York, Fred, is a surprising 35%, below 10% below Wisconsin. Of course, you know, Wisconsin prides itself in pushing all that booze out there.
Oh, yes.
Okay, while you're thinking on that, Fred, I'll take this call on line 2. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah.
This is Buck from western Wisconsin.
All right.
How you guys doing tonight?
You know Fred, don't you?
Hi, Buck.
How you doing, Fred?
Good.
Who was that nitwit calling about that marijuana thing there? I don't quite understand that logic. Is she saying she'd rather live in a grass hut instead of chopping down some trees and making a nice house?
Well, I guess
She lived in a house made from that plant. Just think, if it ever caught fire, she'd get high and could die in the fire.
Well, that's right, but she probably wouldn't even know her house was on fire.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this other thing with all these wackos running around saying how good that's just for, like, glaucoma, I think.
Yeah, it's shown some help with glaucoma patients, and other than that, I don't think they really.
Right, and that
How
other
much?
thing about what was written on hemp, or what the Constitution was written on. See, she probably isn't aware of the technology that took place with the advent of paper.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and you know, there's another thing they invented, like nylon and all these other fibers that were several times stronger than hemp, and that's why hemp fell out of favor in the rope industry.
Yeah, so I don't quite follow that logic. I think I agree with you. If everybody's laying around smoking dope, they're not going to even harvest a second crop of that stuff because they're going to be too stoned, or they're going to be having the munchies.
Well, you know, you look at countries like India and some of these others where there's a lot of heavy usage of drugs, and go over into Cambodia and Thailand, and they've got major, massive heroin addiction problems, and it's because it's been readily available, so people take advantage of it and turn vast numbers of people into addicts.
I don't think a lot of them people appreciate what they got here. I mean, look at over in Africa with Burundi and that other country. A couple leaders get shot or killed, and all of a sudden that nation's in a civil war with 20,000 people dead.
Yeah, it's a terrible. Africa, the whole continent of Africa is in turmoil and moaning and groaning and in travail and pestilence and starvation
I think
and wars and rumors of wars. If anything's right out of the Bible, it's that continent. I'll tell you, it's got everything mentioned in the Book of Revelation going on in there all at once.
I think maybe a month overseas would probably cure a lot of them people.
If you know, if you think about it, ever since Egypt, back when the pharaohs wouldn't let the Israelites go, Egypt used to be considered the whole continent of Africa was called Egypt at one time. And ever since that time, when the pharaohs refused to let Israel go, they've had plagues, they've had pestilence, they've had all kinds of wars and rumors of wars, just nothing but trouble. They're still paying for that when they refused to let the Israelites go back to the Promised Land.
So now, what about these awards here? How come you forgot that stuff at home?
Well, we've got the award itself, but what I have is the certificates, and they're very beautiful, nice little beautiful certificates that we'll have to show on the next, or display on the next show, and then mail out to the recipients of the 1994 annual Cowpie Award.
There you go.
These
Well,
are
you
the
guys
first-
keep up good work.
These are the first annual ones, by the way, too. This will be a tradition.
Charter member.
Uh-huh.
Well, you guys keep up good work. I'd rather watch you guys in the World Series.
Is that on now?
Well, pretty soon here. Just hold your breath for a few months.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for calling in.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you.
Okay, adios. Okay, Fred, what do you got there?
Military doctors continue to refuse to perform abortions, and that also is from the latest edition of Catholic lay paper, The Wanderer, printed in St. Paul. Over a year has passed since Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bill Clinton, signed a directive to allow abortions to be performed in military hospitals overseas. Yet not one abortion has been performed because all military physicians and medical staff refuse to become involved in the gruesome business of killing babies, according to GIs for Truth, a military pro-life group. Incidentally, that's one of the things that our fine congressman voted for,
He did.
to permit military hospitals to permit abortions overseas.
Kate Redwell, I'm going to take a call here on line 1. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Chuck, I was just wondering, what do you think, what your opinion would be on the end of the world and how it may happen?
My opinion of how
End of the world?
the end, okay, the end of the world. All right. My opinion on the end of the world. Well, I think we're in what the scriptures call the end times. And basically, there's a lot of cryptic type reading in the book of Revelation and also in the book of Daniel telling about what's going to happen. And I was just talking about it earlier, basically wars, rumors of wars, things like Burundi and the other nation, Rwanda. I mean, just in a matter of 2 or 3 days, a bloodbath that probably caused, no telling, at least 10,000 people have been murdered in the capital of one of the countries alone. And it's like earthquakes when they happen. It'll take maybe up to a week before the carnage ends so that they can get out into the hinterland where there's no radio, TVs or anything, and get out there and find the other 10 or 20,000 bodies that are floated up and what's coming down the rivers. It's just that whole country is moaning, groaning, and travail. The Bible talks about how the earth would be doing that, the earthquakes. What you need to watch for is increase in earthquakes, increases in pestilence, starvation, increases in like flooding, natural disasters on the increase. There's more now than there ever has been in the history of the world. And you saw the floods last spring. And then on top of that, we had the California earthquake just here in, what is it, January, Fred?
Mm-hmm.
Which was a massive amount of money. And then before that, we had the hurricanes in Florida. And then we had the San Francisco earthquake. So it's just, we're just reeling. And that's just one country that's reeling and kind of stumbling around like a drunk person. And this is going to increase over the whole world as we get closer to the coveted year 2000. I personally don't think at the stroke of midnight on 1999 at December 31st, when we switch over to year 2000, that click, everything's going to shut off. I personally think that things are just going to continue to get worse. Evil men will wax worse and worse, the Bible says, and that will continue until I guesstimate into the year, possibly as far as year 2030. But from now until after the turn of the century, there's going to be a lot of problems, and there's supposedly one figure that's going to rise, that's going to control the whole world with an iron fist. Most of the people on earth will bow to that person. He'll be called the Antichrist. And if you don't take what they call the mark of the beast, which will probably be some kind of microchip or some kind of UPC symbol in your forehead or in your hand, if you don't bow to that, they'll just have you bend over and they'll chop off your head with a big axe. That's what the Bible says. A lot of Christians will be martyred. A lot of people refuse to take that mark and go into the one world government will be eliminated. And you hear talk now of humans have to be eliminated in certain parts of the world because of overpopulation. And personally, I think that possibly this abortion thing worldwide is part of the elimination process that's going on. But you'll see increases of the type of things you're seeing in Burundi, the types of things you saw in the LA riot, total chaos. You see where governments want to take our guns away from us so that we can't defend ourselves from the breakdown of law and order and total chaos. Just a small microcosm of that is what happened in Los Angeles when you had United States Congressman Maxine Waters with a clenched black power fist say, "No justice, no peace." And in the other hand, she might as well have had 10 gallons of gas, and in the right hand a torch, throwing the gas and throwing the torch, and lighting that fire which caused the deaths of over 60 people. That's the type of thing you'll see, though. Anarchy, chaos, breakdown of law and order in ever-increasing amounts, in many places. You're seeing it going on in the former Soviet Union. You're seeing it all over Africa, southern Africa. So stay tuned because there's more to come. So all you have to do is, when you see this happening, look up because your redemption draws near. That's another quote from the Bible.
Well, personally, I think Miss Barstad will put on too much eyeshadow, and we're all gonna drown in it, you know. And the whole universe is just gonna be under eyeshadow, the green eyeshadow.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Well, Fred,
Yes.
the guy asked me a question, and then that's what he gets for an answer. So,
Yeah.
what did you got there? Short and sweet, Fred. We got
Pro-Life Wisconsin workshop promotes 100% philosophy. And 1/3 of those in attendance were running for or considering running for public office. 1/3 pro-life campaign workers, and 1/3 were grassroots pro-life activists. And that was held in Madison last weekend. I think it was Saturday. And speakers included State Representative Cheryl Albers, Republican from Loganville, a pro-life leader in the State Assembly; Steve King, former U.S. Senate candidate, past chairman of the Republican Party of Wisconsin; Steve Lyons and Robert Vos, political consultants; Robert Klaus, president of Stephen Klaus and Associates; Sherry Johansson, state director of Pro-Life Wisconsin; Mary Catherine Matuska, and Pro-Life Wisconsin, and Linstead.
Well, that's really exciting,
And
Fred.
Peggy.
Where did that take place?
In Madison at the In-Towner on
Okay.
March 25th.
Well, maybe this caller would like to, before you get into reading a book there, maybe this caller would like to ask you about that. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
I just was gonna say that I think you should. I think you should run the show by yourself, because all Fred ever does is sit in the corner and pick himself.
He does.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's a goofball.
Fred, there is another
Yeah.
fine example of what the public education system has done for the fine youth of this community, Fred.
Yes.
We are really getting our money's worth in the overburdensome tax problems that we have, Fred. You can see that their money is well spent. In the meantime, we'll take this call on line 1. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Chuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how you're always talking about imposters? Well, there's been a few imposters around Eau Claire lately. There's some people who think they're GPX callers, and they're really die corrupts. And I think you should hear what they're saying. Want to hear what they're saying?
Well, Fred, evidently we have a problem with line 1 tonight, Fred.
Yes.
There's a major problem with the phone line there on line
Yeah.
1, and it seems to be locked in there. And, you know, last week, Fred, we took the Flavin's pus inhibitors and we put them right on the phone lines and eventually cleaned up all that pus that was in the phone lines, but now it's back again. I don't know what the problem is there, but we'll go to line 2 and see if we can clear this up. Go ahead.
Hi there, Fred. I was just want to direct this call to you.
Yes.
Remember them? There was a variety of calls last Monday, your last show, you know,
Yes.
mentioning GPX. You might have just had one just right now ago.
Yes.
I was wondering, you know, you were laughing a lot, and I think you should go down to Walgreens Pharmacy and get some medication for them seizures you've been having, because half that stuff ain't
Yes.
even funny. 'Cause
Right. Oh, that's the funniest joke tonight. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, Fred, there's another educated idiot there, Fred. Well, in the meantime, while they're clearing up the phone lines, Fred, we've got a lot of open pus on there tonight, flowing over the line.
Getting close.
You know, I think, Fred, for one time, in the 20 years we've been on, I think we're going to get by one time without Chris and Cliff Economaki messing up the studio and leaving those cages and gates and everything else open like they always do, Fred.
Yeah.
Maybe one time we're going to get through the show without something like that happening. I think we're getting close. But you know, Fred,
Yes.
back in the good old days, the government used to display a lot of Christian artwork by the masses.
Yes.
And I guess there's a purging of religious masterpieces going on by the Clinton administration in federal buildings around the country. And specifically, some major artworks by some of the masters are being removed and put into storage because evidently they're offensive to the Clinton administration. Have you heard anything about that, Fred?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Yeah. Well, what has gone from the public's view so far in the National Gallery of Art? Well, one of them is El Greco's magnificent St. Jerome, Madonna and Child, and St. Martin and the Beggar are in storage. Also gone is Rembrandt's The Circumcision of Baby Jesus. And at the gallery's 7th Street entrance, central lobby, two magnificent 16th century Flemish tapestries. One stood out for portraying scenes from Christ's life. And they were done by Van Orley and woven in wool, silk, gold, and silver by Panamaker the Elder. And those have been removed, Fred, and that's just an example of what's going on, and it seems like this is going on all over Washington and other federal buildings. They're removing
That's right.
under the separation of church and state clause.
In the Washington Monument, that has been going on too, where they had recommended psalms that were on the steps and up to the dome in the monument. That they've been removing those.
They have.
Yes.
I guess there's a carillon that they shut up out there too. They used to play some Christian music on a carillon, and that's been shut down. So I guess this Christian type artwork is offensive to the Clinton administration. So in this case, they're removing it from sight so that it won't offend their eyes and ears. And while we're discussing that, Fred, we're going to see if these phone lines have been cleared up.
Hello.
Hello.
Where's your AK-47, man?
I don't have one.
You look like a hijacker, man. You look like you could take a 747 and take it wherever you want, dude.
Well, I'm just in solidarity with the Flavinistas in southern Mexico.
Are you a communist?
No, the Flavinistas are not communists.
Are you right-wing?
No, I'm pretty much right in the middle.
You're right in the middle?
Yep.
How many 747s do you have you taken down in the last 5 years?
Not a one that I know of.
Oh, are those 7 AK-47 bullets around your chest?
I don't know, Fred. What kind are they? You're an old gun hound.
Could be, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Look a little different than some of the ones that I've seen.
What does that character say on your chest?
I don't know. You read Chinese?
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Probably one of them big love fest peace symbols or something.
I think it says, I am a hijacker
I
from...
think I'll wear it down there to La Crosse, to the love
Yeah.
fest, Fred.
No, I think it says, I am a hijacker.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay,
How far is that?
go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I was just wondering, are you related to Bo Stabino?
Who? Who's that, Fred?
Bo Stabino?
Don't know the guy. Okay, Fred.
Yeah.
What do you got there?
Well, here, Colorado political commentator Mike Rosen reported a new change in the tax code which would take effect in January 1995 at the urging of Bill Clinton's chairman of Council of
Wait a
Economic
minute, Fred.
Advisors.
Can I interrupt you? Is this going to take a long time?
No.
Well, then I better ask you this question.
Yes.
Have you now,
No.
or have you ever
No.
been a member,
No.
a member of any Christian organization
Oh, yes.
or church?
Yes. Absolutely.
And may I remind you that you're under oath.
So let's get on with it.
All right, go ahead and read it.
And this was the Council of Economic Advisors, Laura DeAndre Tyson. At the following the cue of Hillary Rodham Clinton and the Organization for Women wrote Rosen, Tyson forwarded legislation to the House of Representatives intended to redress the problem of women historically earning less than men, a massive overhaul of tax liability based on sex. As a consequence, the legislation handled in the House by Patricia Schroeder and in the Senate by Barbara Mikulski would be that a woman grossing $15,000 per year would earn, after taxes, the same as a man grossing $22,000 per year. Rather interesting, I thought.
Yeah, it's Real insightful there, Fred. Well, we'll take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is a question for Fred.
All right.
Yeah, Fred, are you still capable of getting morning wood?
Getting what?
Morning wood.
Morning wood?
Yeah.
Would not.
Well, you know, a stiff.
Well, Fred, did you understand the question?
I didn't quite get it.
Oh.
Did you?
Okay, well, maybe we'll go to line 2 here. And I'm going to talk in a second, Fred, about the new money that's coming.
Yes.
And a very interesting person who helped introduce the bill that's going to introduce a new money system into the United States. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, you had mentioned that you were concerned that the Right to Life group wasn't able to protest in that Irish parade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have allowed them to march in the parade if they would have allowed the pro-choice to people march as well?
I think everybody was welcome except the pro-lifers.
Do you know if they had a pro-choice group who marched too? I was wondering.
No, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, caller, there has been a kind of a backlash against pro-life and Christians in the country in the last few months, and several major and minor publications and newspapers are helping throw gas on the fire to fan the flames of discrimination against Christians and so-called conservatives in the country. But, Fred,
Yes.
Representative Jim Leach from Iowa, Republican,
Yes.
Rockefeller man,
Yes.
ranking Republican on the House Banking Committee, in conjunction with Chairman Henry Gonzalez, are introducing a bill, or already have introduced a bill, at the Clinton administration's request to give the president authority to recall all $100 bills. And what they're going to do, Fred, is they're going to have a two-tier currency for a while. While they're removing the old $100 bills, they're going to have one bill that's going to be a red color, called a redback, for overseas money, and the United States are going to still have the greenback. Because there's so many billions of dollars in the underground economy and also overseas that they're going to slowly reel this stuff in and get it all in before they introduce the new currency. But in the meantime, it looks like we're going to have a redback. Now, this Representative Jim Leach, as you recall, Fred, is the same one that's supposedly being a hound dog on this Whitewater gate
Yes.
thing. But I think the fix is in, Fred. Because there's also Jim Leach is in the Trilateral Commission, and
Yes.
you and I both know that is one of the secret organizations that's helping to bring into being this New World Order. Now, we also would think that Mr. Fisk, the special prosecutor, is going to help nail the Clintons on all the things that we've heard about it over the last several months. But we come to find out that Robert Fisk himself is a law partner to, what's his name? The one that tried to prosecute North and all them guys for
No.
5, 6, 10
Walsh.
years. Walsh. Lawrence Walsh and Fisk were in the state, Fisk and him are law partners there.
Mm-hmm.
And Walsh was the one that ran up a $30 million bill investigating Iran-Contra, coming up with very little for it. So the fix is in, Fred.
Yes.
Fisk is going to help clean this thing all up and basically tell the American people that nothing really terrible happened. And
Yes.
as the bodies pile up around the United States. And I guess there was something on the radio today about quite a few people have died in mysterious ways since the summer of 1992. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Okay.
Chuck,
Yeah.
you know that black cap and that gun thing, that, what is it, a bullet belt? around
Yeah.
you? Yeah, I don't think you look really like a hijacker too much.
I know. I never said I was.
You look like a fat burglar.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that compliment. Of course, Fred, those are the kind of compliments you can expect from the highly educated youth of this community. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I was wondering if you smoke.
Who, Fred?
You.
No.
Oh, he might be related to Ryan Radcliffe then, because he smokes a lot.
To who?
Ryan Radcliffe.
Oh. Huh, I don't know how it'd be related, Fred.
Yeah.
But anyway, Fred. So we got what's his name out there, Jim Leach, the Rockefeller Republican, Tri-Isle Commissioner. He's going to be leading the charge, supposedly, to nail the Clintons. We got Fisk, on the other hand, who's going to cover up everything so the Clintons don't get nailed. And Fisk also represented Clark Clifford, got him off on that giant drug-laden BCCI CIA scandal, Fred.
Yes.
So
Sounds like
if he can get Clark Clifford off, he can get Clinton off.
Sounds like a jewel.
Yeah. Speaking of jewels, Fred, Eau Claire is the jewel of the North. I just
Yes.
thought we'd mention that to people out there that didn't know that. In the meantime, while you're thinking about your next subject, Fred, we're going to take a call. We've got some callers waiting in line here. Woo. Which one are we on here? Hello, caller. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to comment you on your hat there. I like that.
Well, thank you.
I was going to tell you that with the power of Vectis, all computer users will be bowing down to oodles of poodles.
Well. Fred, we didn't quite clean up that pus problem on there. We got to get bigger pus inhibitors next time.
I see here where the American Family Association asks Clinton to stop using tax dollars to promote homosexual political agenda. With over 500,000 Americans die each year of cancer, the homosexual activists within the federally funded National Cancer Institute have put basic cancer research on the back burner in favor of hunting for a genetic link for homosexuality. This is a scandalous misuse of taxpayers' money, said Donald E. Wildman, president of the American Family Association. Homosexuals inside the government advancing their agenda with tax money, all under the pretext of science.
Well, that's really amazing. Where do you dig up all this stuff, Fred?
This comes from the American Family Association Journal, the AFA Journal.
Just about everything you read about homosexuals. So
Well,
where's all that stuff come from?
I guess they're promoting it.
Is that the only issue out there?
No, there are other issues.
All right, well, we're going to take a call, and maybe we'll get one of those.
How about
Go ahead, caller.
the awards?
I have a question. Let's say GPX one.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, Chuck. Hello, Fred.
Yeah.
How
Hi.
you guys doing tonight?
Well, we finally maybe got some sanity on here, Fred. We finally got that.
Another fine selection of pinheads calling tonight.
Yeah. That just goes to show you what $6,100 will pay for.
Yeah, that's right. No competition in the school system.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Whatever happened to that school choice deal? Has that all been covered up in this election year cycle, or what?
It died in committee.
Huh. Good place to hide it.
Yeah. What do you expect to happen at the caucus down in La Crosse this weekend, Chuck?
Well, you must have missed me earlier, because I talked about how it's just going to be one big love fest. Newt Gingrich, the arch-conservatives, coming in for Steve Gunderson, the arch-liberal, and everyone's just going to hug and kiss, and everyone's going to wear body condoms so they don't get any STDs from all the hugging and kissing and the love fest that's going to go on. And
you expect it to be a productive weekend then?
yeah, there's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of crying. People are going to feel sorry that they ever yelled at each other. And it's just going to be one big unity party to get the Republicans back on track.
Well, don't you think if you guys aren't there, they're going to miss you?
Well, I'm no longer in the Republican Party. I can't speak for Fred, but
okay.
I'm.
Fred, are you still involved?
Yes.
Good.
So what's
You guys did a real good job this morning on the radio.
Well, thank you.
Sounded real credible, real solid.
Well, we try to please.
Oh, that's good. Fred, you want to comment on the article in the New American about the frightening IRS tactics?
The what? The
latest issue of the New American?
IRS. Really, I didn't get a chance to do more than look at the magazine since it came in.
It's an alarming article.
Yes, well, I'm well aware of what they have been doing, but I know when I was on the road and I worked on Saturdays, I went in and I turned in my income tax form for the, this was in the 70s, in the late 70s, they disallowed my working on Saturdays and my expenses on Saturdays, so I stopped working on Saturdays.
Yeah. They.
I had to pay taxes on that and pay them I don't know how many $100, and then the state I had to pay besides.
Okay. Fred, are you going down La Crosse this weekend?
I don't know. I right now I don't have any plans to do so.
Okay. Well, keep up the fight.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for calling in, caller. We got to get to the cow pie awards. I guess we're down to about 4 minutes here. So
Yeah.
we're going to take one last call, and then we'll get right into those awards. So this is the last call. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, you don't want to legalize marijuana?
No.
You know, I've been sitting home all day, you know, getting stoned, and, you know, everything, you know, is just funny and stuff, and listen to my GPX.
Okay. Well, Fred, we have our
There's another one.
we have our
He's
GPX
still-
guy on there again,
Yeah.
and he seems to be hung up on that situation.
Say on.
Caller, are you on there? Well,
Uh,
Fred, I think we're going to...
We're going to have the
Close.
meet at City
Okay.
Hall National Day of Prayer Thursday, May 5th, 12:20 to 12:40 p.m.
Hello?
One
Yeah.
quick thing here, Buck, again, I had to respond to those kids
Yeah.
from the educational system calling up and ripping on Fred. I don't
Yeah.
think that was too smart, but they showed their ignorance quite plain for everybody to see.
Okay.
What about that caning over there in Indonesia? Or
Well-
against that, Fred?
Well, Fred, Buck, we only got about 2 minutes left. We got to get these cow pie awards in, but that'll be the first thing on the agenda next week. But
Right.
we're just on this. We're running up against the 10 o'clock hour here.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for calling in. Though. Okay, can we get a focus in on the camera here? There? What's that? Tyrone Powers Jr. Okay, now this is an original cow pie, and this is the first annual
Well, that's all.
1994 Cow Pie Awards.
A
Fred.
wonderful looking cow pie.
Now here is the award, Fred, that each recipient will receive, but the certificate will have to be mailed to them in the mail, and we will show them that next week.
Yeah.
And so, first award goes to State Representative David Plombaum, and that's called the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Special Merit Award, Fred. And
Well,
of course, all these
Do
awards.
you think he really merits that wonderful award?
Of course, all these awards are for underachievement in their field of endeavor. So that first award goes to State Representative Dave Plombaum for the fine example he set for the Mothers Against Drunk Driving for the children and for mothers and children everywhere, Fred, especially for the sober drivers on the road. Okay, the second award is the Vince Foster Taking the Easy Way Out Award,
Yes.
and that goes to Kurt Cobain of Nirvana, Fred.
Yes.
He died at age 27. He blew his brains out. He took some drugs, and he joined that stupid club
Mhm.
where Jimi Hendrix and all the others are, and Elvis Presley and the whole bunch of them, from overdoses of drugs and burning out their minds. Okay, Fred.
Yes.
The last award goes, and this is the first annual 1994 Cow Pie Award for underachievement in their field of endeavor, goes to the Leader Telegram for their 8 days of gays and their 2 days of crucifixion against the Christians. And they get the major 1994 award, Fred.
Now, do you really think they deserve to get such a prestigious award?
And here's the plaque to prove it, Fred, right
Yes.
here. The 1994 awards.
Have you got anybody else down there, too?
That's it, Fred. So now we're going to have to say goodbye, and we'll see you once again next Monday at 2 p.m. right here on the Cow Report. I've been your host, Chuck Lee, and with me, as always, is my trusty sidekick, or my rusty sidekick, Fred KBI Stafford, past commander of the United Nations south of the Panama Canal
No.
and north of Noriega. So
Yeah.
we'll see you again next week right here on the Cow Report. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and as you can hear the phones ringing, we're going to sign off. So good night.